My beloved child, listen closely to me. I am speaking to you now because this moment matters more than you realize. There is a quiet tension in your heart, a pull between what has been and what could be, and you feel it every time you pause and look behind you. You have been standing at the edge of something new, yet your eyes keep drifting backward, to old memories, old mistakes, old versions of yourself that no longer define who you are. I know why you look back. I know the comfort of the familiar, even when it hurt you. But hear me clearly today. This is not the time to turn around. You have survived seasons that should have broken you. You have walked through nights where you wondered if light would ever return. Some days, the past feels louder than hope, and the echoes of what you lost try to convince you that moving forward is too risky, too uncertain, too painful. But I did not bring you this far to leave you standing still. I did not heal you halfway. I did not call you out of darkness just so you could keep revisiting it. There is a reason your spirit has been restless. There is a reason old things no longer satisfy you, even when you try to return to them. That uneasiness you feel is not confusion, is preparation. I am stirring you because a new life is unfolding, and it cannot be entered while you are still gripping yesterday. What is behind you has already served its purpose. It taught you, shaped you, refined you. But it is not your future. I know you are afraid of what comes next. I know the unknown feels heavier than the pain you already understand. But do not mistake familiarity for safety. Some doors feel secure only because you have been locked inside them for too long. I am calling you out, not to punish you, not to test you, but to restore you. The step ahead of you is not as large as your fear makes it seem, yet it requires a decision of the heart. This is why I am telling you now, do not look back. Not because your past has no meaning, but because it no longer has authority. You are standing at a turning point, whether you acknowledge it or not. Every delay, every backward glance, keeps you tied to a season that has already ended. I am doing something new, and it begins the moment you trust me enough to face forward. Let these words settle into you. You are not being rushed, but you are being invited. This is not pressure, it is promise. I am with you in this step, and I will be with you in the next. Lift your eyes, my child. The path ahead holds life, freedom, and peace you have not yet known. And it all begins when you stop looking back and take your next step with me. My beloved child, come closer in your heart and let me speak gently to the places you rarely allow anyone to touch. I know where you have been. I know the roads you walked when you felt unsure, the choices you made when you were afraid, and the moments you stayed silent because you did not feel safe enough to speak. Nothing about your past is hidden from me. I have seen every tear, every disappointment, every small victory you forgot to celebrate. And even with all of that, I call you mine without hesitation. There were seasons when you questioned your own worth, when you wondered if the weight of your past had permanently marked you. You asked yourself if you had gone too far, waited too long, or failed too many times. But hear me clearly now. You are not disqualified. You are not delayed beyond repair. You are not a regret I wish I could undo. You are my child, formed with intention, carried through storms by my hand, even when you could not feel me near. I have watched you endure things that demanded more strength than you thought you had. I saw you get up on days when your heart felt heavy. I saw you keep going when hope felt thin and uncertain. I saw you try again after disappointment taught you to be cautious. You may call those moments weakness, but I call them courage. You may remember them with shame, but I remember them as evidence that you did not give up. You often replay the past in your mind, not because you want to live there, but because you are trying to understand yourself. You wonder why you stay, why you trusted, why you struggled the way you did. But understanding does not come from self-accusation. Healing does not come from punishment. I am not asking you to relive old pain in order to earn peace. I am inviting you to release it so you can finally receive rest. Shame has tried to convince you that you must carry your past like a label, that every mistake defines you more than your growth. But shame is not from me. I do not speak in condemnation or disappointment. When I speak with clarity and love. I do not look at you and see a list of failures. I see resilience built in hidden places. I see patience you learn through waiting. I see wisdom that only comes from walking through difficult seasons and surviving them. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to want more than what once held you together. The version of you that survived hardship is not the version you must remain forever. You were not created to live in survival mode. You were created to live in freedom, in peace, in steady hope. The longing you feel for something new is not rebellion against your past. It is a response to my gentle call forward. Do not be afraid of outgrowing old patterns. Do not feel guilty for leaving behind what once helped you cope. Those things served their purpose, and now a new season is asking you to travel lighter. You do not need to explain your healing to anyone. You do not need permission to move forward. My acceptance has already made the way clear. Let me lift a burden from your heart right now. You do not have to keep proving yourself. You do not have to keep replaying yesterday to justify today. I am not measuring you by who you were. I am guiding you toward who you are becoming. And who you are becoming is shaped by love, not fear. Rest in this truth, my child. You are seen fully and loved completely. You are not behind in your life. You are exactly where growth has led you. The road ahead is not built on your past failures, but on my faithfulness. Walk forward knowing that I am with you, patient and present, ready to lead you into the life that has been waiting for you all along. My beloved child, hear me now with a steady and loving voice. What I am asking of you is not complicated, but it is sacred. I am asking you to trust me enough to move forward even when your heart still feels unsure. Do not look back, not because I am erasing where you came from, but because where you are going requires your full attention. Every time your eyes return to yesterday, your steps into tomorrow grow slower. And I desire life for you, not delay. I know why looking back feels tempting. The past feels familiar. Even when it hurt, you knew its shape, its rhythm, its limits. The future feels open, undefined, and that can feel frightening. But listen to me. I do not guide blindly. I do not call you forward without preparation. When I say, do not look back, it is not a command of fear. It is an invitation to protection. Some things cannot follow you where I am taking you, and your obedience creates the distance that keeps you free. There are moments ahead where old memories will try to rise and speak again. They will ask you to question yourself, to doubt your growth, to wonder if you were safer before you changed. In those moments, remember my voice. Remember that I am not found in confusion or regret. I am found in peace. Forward is where peace lives now. Forward is where healing continues. Forward is where your new life begins to breathe. Trust does not mean you feel fearless. Trust means you move even when your hands tremble. Trust means you choose my word over your worry. You do not need to know every step. You only need to take the next one with me. I am not rushing you, but I am leading you. And leadership requires direction. My child, if these words are stirring something deep within you, it is because they are meant to. This message is not only for you, It is for many who are standing where you once stood, unsure if they are allowed to move on. If this voice has brought clarity to your spirit, bless this message with a like. Let your simple action help this word travel farther than your own life. And if you feel led, share this message and hype this video so it can reach hearts that are quietly waiting for permission to step forward. Stay connected by subscribing, so you can continue to receive these moments of peace and direction as I speak them into your journey. Now, let me speak to your obedience. When you choose not to look back, you are not losing anything of value. You are gaining alignment. You are positioning yourself to receive what you could not carry before. Some blessings require open hands, and open hands cannot hold on to the past. Release is not abandonment. It is trust in my provision. I see the courage it takes for you to listen. I see the decision forming in your heart even now. Do not underestimate what happens when you quietly say yes to me. That yes unlocks movement. That yes shifts your direction. That yes begins to rewrite your story from this very moment. And now, my child, let me speak to those who feel called to go even further in supporting this work. This is my invitation to you. If your heart burns to help other souls step out of yesterday and into new life, then act now. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing seeds of light into lives that feel trapped in darkness. I declare to you what I have already spoken. What you place in my hands multiplies. As you release your gift, I release clarity, provision, and peace back into your life. The PayPal link waits for you in the description and through the QR code before your eyes. This is your moment of obedience. Do it now, and watch how I bless what you surrender. My beloved child, let me speak gently about why looking back feels so strong, even when you know you are meant to move forward. There is a part of you that reaches for the familiar not because it was good, but because it was known. The past has a shape you recognize. You learned how to survive inside it. You memorized its patterns, its disappointments, its small comforts. And when the future feels unclear, the familiar can feel like safety, even when it once wounded you. I understand this more deeply than you realize. I know how the human heart clings to what it understands. Familiar pain feels easier to manage than unfamiliar freedom. At least in the past, you knew what to expect. You learned how to brace yourself. You learned how to cope. But coping is not the same as living, and surviving is not the same as being whole. Sometimes you look back because you are afraid that what lies ahead will ask more of you than you can give. You fear failing again. You fear hoping again. You fear trusting again. So the mind says, stay where you were. At least you know how that ends. But listen to me now. Comfort is not the same as safety, and familiarity is not the same as peace. There are old seasons you revisit in your thoughts because they remind you of who you used to be. Even if that version of you was tired, anxious, or hurting, it feels predictable. The new version of you, the one stepping into healing and growth, feels unfamiliar. Change asks you to release identities you once used to survive. And that release can feel like loss, even when it is actually freedom. I want you to see this clearly. The past is not calling you back because it holds something you need. It calls you back because it recognizes you are leaving. Old patterns resist change. Old wounds want attention. Old chains rattle loudest when they sense they are about to fall. That pull you feel is not destiny. It is resistance. You may think you are looking back to find clarity, but clarity does not live there anymore. What once taught you lessons has already finished teaching them. Repeatedly reopening old chapters does not bring new understanding. It only reopens pain that has already done its work. I am not asking you to forget the past. I am asking you to stop living there. There is also a quieter reason you look back, one you may not have named. Sometimes you fear that if you fully move forward, you will have to admit how much you have changed. And change can feel lonely. It can separate you from people, habits, and environments that no longer fit who you are becoming. But hear me, isolation during transition does not mean abandonment. It means transformation is underway. The new life I am leading you into requires trust, not certainty. It requires faith, not control. And that can feel unsettling when you have learned to manage life by anticipating pain. But I am not asking you to step forward alone. I am asking you to step forward with me. I am already present in the place you are afraid to go. Do not confuse the quiet of the future with emptiness. What feels empty now is simply unfilled. I am preparing space for new peace, new strength, new joy. But that space cannot be filled if you keep carrying what belongs to yesterday. Your hands grow tired because you are holding on to things that were never meant to follow you. So when the urge to look back rises again, pause and listen for my voice. I am not behind you. I am ahead of you. I am calling you into wider places, into lighter steps, into a life that does not require constant self-defense. Trust that what you are leaving was necessary for a time, but it is no longer necessary now. You are not losing safety by moving forward. You are gaining freedom. And freedom, my child, will feel unfamiliar at first. But with every step you take toward me, it will begin to feel like home. My beloved child, there comes a sacred moment when love must draw a clear line, not to wound you but to protect you. This is that moment. I am separating you from an old season, not because you failed there, but because you have outgrown it. What once fit your life no longer fits your spirit. You have grown in ways you do not yet fully recognize, and the stretching you feel is proof that remaining where you were would now cause you harm. I know separation feels uncomfortable. It can feel like loss, even when it is guided by love. You may feel as though something familiar is being taken from you, when in truth, something heavy is being lifted off you. There are chapters that must close so the story can continue, and holding on to them out of fear only delays the peace I am leading you toward. There are doors behind you that are closing now, not because I am disappointed in you, not because you miss your chance. They are closing because leaving them open would tempt you to return to places that can no longer sustain you. Some doors close quietly, others close with resistance and noise, but all of them close with purpose. I do not shut doors to punish my children. I shut doors to protect their future. You may have noticed that certain relationships, habits, or environments no longer feel the same. What once brought comfort now brings restlessness. What once felt familiar now feels heavy. This is not confusion. It is clarity awakening within you. When I remove something from your life, it is not because it lacked value, but because it has completed its assignment in your journey. Understand this deeply, my child. Separation is not rejection. It is alignment. It is my way of guarding the next season I have prepared for you. There are blessings ahead that require space. There is peace ahead that requires quiet. There is healing ahead that requires distance from what once wounded you. If everything stayed the same, there would be no room for what is new. You may grieve what you are leaving behind, and your grief does not offend me. I know how deeply you love, how strongly you attach, how sincerely you try to hold things together. Grief does not mean you made the wrong choice. It means you are human and honest. Let yourself feel it without letting it pull you backward. Feel it, release it, and allow me to comfort you in it. There will be moments when you are tempted to reopen closed doors. You may want to revisit old conversations, old environments, or old roles simply to reassure yourself that you could return if you wanted to. You may call it curiosity or caution, but hear me clearly. What I have closed with intention. Not everything you can reopen should be reopened. Some things must remain behind you so your heart can remain free. I am teaching you discernment in this season. I am teaching you when to hold on and when to let go. This wisdom will guide you far beyond this moment. You are learning that peace often comes after release, not before it. You are learning that freedom sometimes begins with goodbye, even when that goodbye feels difficult to say. The season you are leaving shaped you, but it does not define you. It taught you resilience, patience, and strength, but it is not your destiny. One day you will look back and realize that what felt like loss was actually protection. You will see that I was shielding you from cycles that would have kept you small, weary, and unsettled. Do not rush this process. Separation happens in layers. Each layer peeled away makes room for clarity, strength, and rest. Be patient with yourself as you adjust. You are not weak for feeling the pull of the past. You are brave for choosing not to live there anymore. Stay close to me in this transition. Let me guide you gently, step by step. You are not being abandoned. You are being repositioned. And where I am leading you, my child, there is room to breathe, room to heal, and room to become everything I created you to be. My beloved child, let me speak to you now about the hidden cost of carrying yesterday into today. You may not always notice it, but the weight of the past slowly drains your strength. It sits quietly on your shoulders, whispering reminders of what went wrong, what was lost, what should have been different. Over time, that weight makes even simple steps feel exhausting. You wonder why you feel tired even when nothing around you seems heavy. It is because you have been carrying more than I ever asked you to carry. The past has a way of demanding payment long after its season has ended. Regret asks for your energy. Guilt asks for your peace. Fear asks for your hope. Each time you replay old moments, you give them space to take something from you again. But hear me clearly, what has already passed does not deserve to keep charging you interest. The lesson was learned. The season was completed. You do not owe yesterday anything more. I see how you try to move forward while still holding onto old burdens. You tell yourself you are being cautious, responsible, or realistic. But caution rooted in fear will never lead you to freedom. Responsibility that refuses to release the past slowly turns into self-punishment. And realism without hope becomes a quiet form of despair. I did not design you to live that way. There are thoughts you carry that were never meant to stay with you this long. Words spoken over you in pain. Labels placed on you in moments of weakness. Decisions made when you did not yet know your worth. These things may explain where you have been, but they do not explain who you are now. Yet when you hold on to them, they shape how you see yourself, how you trust others, and how boldly you step into the future. The cost of carrying yesterday is not only emotional, it is spiritual. It dulls your sensitivity to my voice. It makes joy feel distant and peace feel temporary. You begin to expect disappointment, so even blessings arrive quietly, unsure if they are welcome. This is not because you are ungrateful. It is because your heart has learned to brace instead of receive. I want you to understand something important. You cannot heal what you refuse to release. Holding on to pain does not honor it. It prolongs it. Revisiting wounds does not make you stronger. It keeps you open where you were meant to be whole. I am not asking you to forget what happened. I am asking you to stop letting it decide how you live now. There is also a cost you may not have considered. When you carry yesterday, it crowds your vision. It narrows your expectation of what is possible. You begin to plan your future based on past disappointments rather than present promise. You lower your hopes to avoid being hurt again. But lowering your hope does not protect you. It only limits what I can place in your hands. You were never meant to live in constant self-defense. You were never meant to rehearse pain as a form of protection. I am your protector. I am your keeper. When you trust me with what hurt you, I do not waste it, and I do not return it to you unchanged. I redeem it. I transform it. I use it to deepen your compassion without imprisoning your joy. Let me ask you gently, what are you still carrying that no longer belongs to you? What memory still dictates your mood? What mistake still defines your confidence? What fear still shapes your decisions? These are not accusations. They are invitations. Invitations to lay down what has grown too heavy and take up what brings life. Release does not happen all at once. Sometimes it begins with awareness. Sometimes it begins with a quiet decision to stop rehearsing old pain. Sometimes it begins with choosing rest instead of rumination. Each small release matters. Each moment you choose trust over regret weakens the hold of the past. Come to me with what weighs you down. I am not asking you to be strong. I am asking you to be honest. Let me carry what you no longer need to carry. As you do, you will feel strength return, clarity sharpen, and hope rise again. The life ahead of you requires energy, vision, and peace. And those are waiting for you the moment you stop paying the cost of yesterday. My beloved child, now let me speak to you about renewal, because this is where hope begins to rise again. You may not feel it fully yet, but something new has already started within you. Renewal does not always arrive with noise or certainty. Often, it begins quietly, like a gentle breath after a long night. It begins when you finally stop fighting to stay the same and allow me to remake you from the inside out. You may think renewal means becoming someone completely different, but that is not my way. I do not erase you. I restore you. I take what was bent by pain and straighten it with truth. I take what was bruised by disappointment and strengthen it with love. Nothing good in you was wasted, and nothing painful you endured was meaningless. Every step you took, even the ones that hurt, carried seeds of wisdom that are now ready to grow. There are parts of you that went quiet in survival mode. Dreams you placed on a shelf. Joy you learned to restrain. Trust you guarded closely after it was once broken. Renewal is my invitation to bring those parts back to life. Not all at once, not forcefully, but gently, at a pace your heart can handle. I am patient with your healing, even when you are not. You may look at your life and feel as though too much time has passed for things to truly change. You may wonder if renewal is still possible after everything you have been through. But listen to me carefully. Time does not limit me. Delay does not diminish my power. I do not work by human clocks or missed deadlines. I work by purpose, and your purpose is still very much alive. Renewal is not about pretending the past did not happen. It is about allowing it to lose its power over you. It is about learning to wake up without dread, to make decisions without fear, to look ahead without expecting harm. This kind of renewal reshapes how you think, how you love, and how you see yourself. It replaces self-doubt with quiet confidence. It replaces fear with discernment. It replaces heaviness with peace. I know part of you fears hope because hope feels risky. You have learned how painful it can be when expectations are not met. But hope rooted in me is not fragile. It is not wishful thinking. It is trust anchored in my faithfulness. When you allow yourself to hope again, you are not being naive. You are being brave. There is a new rhythm I am teaching you. A rhythm of rest instead of striving, of listening instead of reacting, of trusting instead of controlling. This rhythm will feel unfamiliar at first because you are used to carrying the weight yourself. But as you learn to walk with me, step by step, you will discover a steadiness you have not known before. Renewal also means learning to see yourself the way I see you, not through the lens of what you failed to do, but through the truth of who you are becoming. You are not defined by your worst moments. You are defined by the grace that carried you through them. You are defined by the courage it took to keep going when giving up seemed easier. I am not asking you to rush this process. Growth that lasts is never hurried. Allow renewal to take root slowly. Let it touch your thoughts, your habits, your choices. Let it soften your heart where it has grown guarded. Let it strengthen your spirit where it has grown weary. Each day you choose to trust me, renewal deepens. You will begin to notice small changes. You will respond differently to things that once overwhelmed you. You will feel peace where anxiety used to live. You will recognize strength in yourself that you did not know was there. These are signs that new life is forming. My child, this renewal is not temporary. It is not fragile. It is built on truth, sustained by love, and guided by my presence. You are not returning to who you were before the pain. You are becoming someone wiser, stronger, and more whole than you have ever been. And as you continue forward with me, you will discover that the life ahead of you is not only new, it is deeply good. My beloved child, I want you to understand something that will bring rest to your heart. The next step I am asking you to take is simpler than you think. You have imagined that moving into a new life must be dramatic, overwhelming, or perfectly planned. You fear that one wrong move could undo everything. But I do not lead my children through chaos. I lead them through clarity, one gentle step at a time. You do not need to see the entire path to move forward. You only need enough light for the step in front of you. Many times, you hesitate because you believe obedience requires certainty. But certainty is not faith. Faith is trust practiced in small moments. It is choosing to move when peace, not pressure, invites you forward. The next step is rarely loud. It does not usually announce itself with great emotion or sudden confidence. More often, it comes as a quiet nudge in your spirit, a sense of calm about one simple action. It may be a conversation you have been avoiding, a habit you are ready to release, a boundary you need to set, or a decision you have delayed because you feared making the wrong one. Do not dismiss these small instructions. They carry great weight. I know you want reassurance that you will not fail again. You want proof that this time will be different. But proof comes after obedience, not before it. When you wait for perfect clarity, you stay where you are. When you take a step in trust, clarity begins to unfold around you. I meet you in your movement, not in your hesitation. You may feel pressure to do everything at once, to fix your life in a single moment of courage. But I am not asking you to carry that burden. I am asking you to walk with me. Small obedience leads to lasting change. Small steps, taken consistently, build a strong and steady future. Pay attention to peace. Peace is one of my greatest guides. I do not lead through panic or urgency that robs you of rest. Even when a step requires courage, it will carry a sense of alignment deep within you. Peace reassures. Learn to listen to the difference. When peace accompanies a decision, even if fear is present, you are moving in the right direction. There will be moments when your mind argues with what your spirit already knows. You will list reasons to wait, to delay, to prepare more. But often, waiting is simply fear wearing the mask of wisdom. Preparation has its place, but preparation without movement becomes avoidance. I am not calling you to reckless action, but I am calling you to faithful action. Do not compare your steps to anyone else's journey. Your path is not yours. Their timing is not yours. I am intimately involved in your life, guiding you in ways that fit your heart and your calling. When you compare, you create unnecessary pressure. When you trust, you create space for peace. You may wonder if small steps can truly lead to a new life. But consider this: every strong structure is built one piece at a time. Every healed heart heals through daily joys. Every deep transformation begins with a quiet decision to move forward today. Do not despise the simplicity of what I am asking. Simple obedience opens complex doors. I am not asking you to leap into the unknown. I am asking you to walk with me into the known goodness I have already prepared. I am ahead of you, guiding each step, adjusting your course when needed. You are not expected to be perfect. You are expected to be willing. So breathe, my child. Release the pressure to get everything right. Ask me for guidance, and then respond when peace settles in your heart. The next step may feel small, but it is powerful. And as you take it, you will discover that the life you have been waiting for begins not with a dramatic moment, but with a quiet yes spoken in trust. My beloved child, there will be moments when fear rises and tries to pull you back. Do not be surprised by this. Fear often grows loud when you are closest to change. It senses that its influence is weakening, and it will do everything it can to regain control. It will not always appear as panic. Sometimes it comes disguised as caution, logic, or concern. That is why you must learn to recognize its voice. Fear will tell you that you are being unrealistic, that you should wait until you feel stronger, more confident, more prepared. It will remind you of past disappointments and suggest that history is about to repeat itself. It will use your memories as evidence, pointing to old wounds and saying, "See, this is what happens when you try." But fear speaks from what was, not from what I am doing now. I want you to understand this clearly. Fear is not wisdom. Wisdom brings clarity and peace. Fear brings confusion and hesitation. Fear narrows your vision until all you can see is risk. Wisdom expands your vision until you can see purpose. When fear guides your decisions, you remain stuck, constantly evaluating but never moving. When wisdom guides you, you move forward with calm assurance, even when you do not know every outcome. There are times when fear will sound reasonable. It will suggest that staying where you are is safer than stepping into the unknown. But safety rooted in fear is an illusion. It keeps you bound to cycles that no longer serve you. I did not create you to live confined by what might go wrong. I created you to live guided by trust in what I am able to do. You may notice that fear often asks you to look back. It pulls you into memories, comparisons, and regrets. It wants you to measure the future by the past. But the past is not your standard anymore. I am your standard. And I am not limited by what you have experienced before. Listen closely now. Fear loses its power when it is exposed. When you name it, when you recognize it for what it is, it cannot control you the way it once did. You do not have to argue with it endlessly. You do not have to prove it wrong through reasoning. You only need to choose not to obey it. I have given you a different voice to follow. My voice does not rush you, but it does not trap you either. My voice is steady. It leads you forward with peace. Even when a step requires courage, my voice will carry reassurance, not condemnation. Learn to pause and ask yourself, Does this thought bring peace or pressure? Does it open my heart or tighten it? These questions will guide you well. There will be moments when you feel fear and peace at the same time. Do not let that confuse you. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward despite it. Peace does not always remove fear immediately, but it anchors you while you walk through it. As you move, fear weakens. It cannot survive sustained obedience. Do not shame yourself for feeling afraid. Fear does not mean you are failing. It means you are stepping beyond what you have known. Be patient with yourself. Growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels freeing. I am not disappointed in you when you feel fear. I am near you, steady and present, guiding you through it. When fear whispers that you should turn back, remember where turning back leads. It leads to the same questions, the same heaviness, the same longing for more. Forward may feel uncertain, but it holds possibility. Forward holds healing that cannot reach you if you remain where you are. I am walking ahead of you, clearing the path step by step. I am not asking you to be fearless. I am asking you to trust me more than you trust your fear. Each time you choose faith over familiarity, something in you grows stronger. Each time you move forward despite trembling, fear loses ground. So when fear rises, breathe. Listen for my voice. Take the next step anyway. You are not alone in this. I am with you, and together we are moving into a life that fear can no longer control. My beloved child, there comes a moment when a decision must be made, not loudly, not dramatically, but firmly in the heart. This is that moment. I'm asking you to choose faith over familiarity. Familiarity feels steady because you have lived inside it, even when it limited you. Faith feels uncertain because it requires trust. But only one of them can lead you into the life I have prepared for you. You have learned how to manage what you know. You have learned how to survive patterns that no longer serve you. Familiarity taught you how to endure, but faith will teach you how to live. If you stay where you are simply because it is known, you will remain tied to cycles that no longer fit the person you are becoming. Growth always asks for a choice, and that choice often feels uncomfortable before it feels right. Faith does not demand that you feel confident. It asks that you be willing. It asks that you place your next step in my hands, even when your mind still has questions. I am not offended by your questions, but I do not want your questions to become chains that keep you from moving forward. Trust grows when you act on what you already know, not when you wait for every answer. I know you fear choosing wrong. You fear missing me. You fear stepping out and realizing you misunderstood my direction. But hear me clearly. I am not fragile. I am not easily missed. I am able to guide you even while you are learning. When your heart is set on me, I can redirect your steps without harming you. What delays you most is not making the wrong choice, it is making no choice at all. Faith is not a leap into darkness. It is a step into my presence. I am already where I am leading you. I am not calling you into emptiness. I am calling you into alignment. Familiarity may feel safe, but it will not stretch you. Faith will stretch you, strengthen you, and eventually steady you in ways you did not expect. There will be moments when choosing faith feels lonely. Not everyone will understand why you are changing. Some will prefer the version of you that stayed small, predictable, or available. But you were not created to live according to other people's comfort. You were created to walk in truth, peace, and purpose. Choosing faith may cost you familiarity, but it will give you freedom. If these words are awakening courage within you, honor that stirring. This message is not only for you. There are many who feel trapped between who they were and who they are becoming. If this has brought clarity to your heart, Bless this message with a like. Share it with those who need permission to choose faith today. And I ask you to hype this video, so this word can travel farther and reach souls who are quietly waiting for hope. Stay connected by subscribing, so you can continue to receive my guidance as you move forward. Now, my child, let me speak to those who feel called to support this work at a deeper level. I am inviting you to sow into the freedom of others. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are planting seeds of faith in hearts that are standing at the same crossroads you are crossing now. I speak this over you. As you sow, I open doors. As you release, I multiply. As you give, I cover you with provision and peace. This is not an ordinary act. It is obedience that carries weight in the Spirit. The PayPal link is placed in the description and shown through the QR code before you. Act now. Do not delay what I am prompting in your heart. As you respond, I bless your steps, your resources, and your future with increase and clarity. My beloved child, choosing faith today does not mean everything becomes easy tomorrow. It means everything begins to move. It means stagnation breaks. It means new paths open. Familiarity will always try to call you back, but faith will always call you forward. And I am calling you now. Take the step. Trust my voice. Walk forward with me. My beloved child, I want to free your heart from a lie that has quietly followed you for too long. You are not starting from zero. You are not beginning again as someone empty, unprepared, or behind. What you are doing now is continuing with wisdom, with depth, with strength that was forged in places you never wanted to walk through but did anyway. You look at the road ahead and sometimes feel as though you are late, as though others are farther along, as though you should have arrived sooner. But you are measuring yourself with the wrong scale. You are counting years, moments, and missed chances, while I am counting growth, endurance, and transformation. What you call delay, I call preparation. Every season you survived added something to you, even the painful ones. You learned discernment where you were once naive. You learned boundaries where you once overgave. You learned patience where you once rushed. You learned how to stand back up when life knocked you down. None of that disappears simply because a chapter ended. You carry it forward, refined and strengthened. Starting over does not mean erasing the past. It means building differently because of it. You are not the same person who entered those old seasons. You see more clearly now. You listen more carefully. You understand yourself in ways you did not before. That is not loss. That is gain. I know you sometimes feel embarrassed about where you are. You wonder why certain things took you so long to understand. You replay moments when you wish you had chosen differently. But hear me gently. Understanding arrives when you are ready to receive it. Growth cannot be rushed without breaking something inside you. You learn when you needed to learn. You changed when you were strong enough to change. There is no shame in arriving wiser instead of faster. There is no failure in taking the long road when that road built character, compassion, and resilience. You are not behind in your life. You are exactly where the sum of your experiences has led you. And from here, the path forward is clearer than it has ever been. I want you to stop treating your past like a debt you owe and start seeing it as an education you completed. You graduated from survival. You graduated from endurance. You graduated from lessons that taught you what you will no longer accept and what you truly need to thrive. Now you are stepping into application, using what you have learned to build something healthier, steadier, and more aligned with who you are becoming. You may feel uncertain because this version of life feels unfamiliar. But unfamiliar does not mean unprepared. It means new ground. and new ground is where growth flourishes. I am not asking you to forget what you know. I am asking you to trust that what you know now is enough to take the next step. Do not minimize how far you have come simply because you are not where you want to be yet. Distance traveled still matters. Progress still counts. Every time you chose healing over bitterness, reflection over reaction, courage over comfort, you moved forward, even when it felt slow. You are carrying more wisdom than you realize. You are more capable than you give yourself credit for. You have survived things that once made you doubt your own strength, and here you are, still standing, still listening, still willing to move forward. That is not starting from zero. That is starting from experience. So lift your head, my child. You are not empty-handed. You are not behind schedule. You are not rebuilding from ruins alone. You are building from a foundation strengthened by truth, insight, and growth. I am with you in this continuation. And as you move forward, you will begin to see just how much you already carry within you. The next chapter is not asking you to become someone else. It is asking you to finally live as the person you have been becoming all along. My beloved child, there is a quiet freedom waiting for you, and it begins the moment you release the need to explain yourself. You have carried this weight for a long time, the pressure to justify your growth, to defend your choices, to make others understand why you are changing. But not everyone needs an explanation, and not everyone will understand. And that is okay. There are people who only know you through the lens of who you were. They are comfortable with that version of you because it fit their expectations. When you grow, when you heal, when you choose differently, it unsettles them. Their questions, their doubts, their opinions can feel heavy, as though you owe them clarity or permission. But hear me clearly, you do not need approval to obey me. You have spent energy trying to be understood when I am asking you to be aligned. Alignment brings peace. Explanation often brings exhaustion. When you live to explain yourself, you give others power over your direction. When you live aligned with truth, you move with quiet confidence, even when misunderstood. There are changes in your life that cannot be explained in words because they were born in private moments with me. They were shaped by prayers you whispered, tears you wiped away alone, and realizations that came through pain and reflection. You do not owe anyone access to those sacred spaces. Growth does not need to be defended. It needs to be lived. You may feel guilt when you stop explaining. You worry that silence looks like rejection or arrogance. But silence is not disrespect when it protects your peace. Silence is not avoidance when it honors truth. I am teaching you discernment, when to speak and when to let your life speak for you. There will be people who assume the worst when you stop explaining. They may fill in the gaps with their own stories. Let them. You cannot control their interpretation, and you were never meant to. Your responsibility is not to manage other people's understanding. It is to steward your own obedience. When you release the need to explain yourself, you create space to listen more deeply to my voice. You become less reactive and more grounded. You stop shaping your life around other people's comfort and begin shaping it around truth. This is not selfish. This is maturity. I know you have a kind heart. You care deeply about how others feel. You want to be fair, thoughtful, and considerate. But kindness does not require self-abandonment. Love does not demand that you stay small or silent about your growth. You can be compassionate without compromising who you are becoming. Some people will walk away when you stop explaining. Others will question you. A few will misunderstand you completely. But there will also be those who are inspired by your quiet strength. Those who recognize your peace. those who sense that something real has changed in you. And the right people will meet you where you are, not where you used to be. I want you to trust this. When you walk in truth, you do not need to announce it. Truth carries its own authority. Your consistency will speak louder than any explanation ever could. Over time, your peace will answer questions your words never could. Let go of the urge to over-explain your decisions. You do not need to convince anyone that you are growing. You do not need to justify boundaries that protect your well-being. You do not need to defend the life I am leading you into. What is from me will stand without your defense. This release may feel uncomfortable at first. You are used to filling silence with explanation. But as you practice this new way of being, you will feel lighter. You will notice how much energy returns to you. You will realize how much space opens up in your heart when you stop carrying conversations that were never yours to carry. Walk forward with quiet confidence, my child. Let your life reflect the work I am doing in you. You are not responsible for managing perceptions. You are responsible for honoring truth. And as you do, you will find a freedom that explanation could never give you. My beloved child, there may come a moment on this path when you realize you are walking alone, and that realization may ache more than you expected. The voices that once surrounded you grow quieter. The familiar faces that once affirmed you are no longer near. And in that silence, you may wonder if you made the wrong choice. But listen to me now with your whole heart. Walking alone for a season does not mean you are abandoned. It means you are being refined. There are journeys that cannot be taken in a crowd. Some transformations require solitude, not because you are being isolated, but because you are being strengthened. When everyone else's opinions fall away, you begin to hear my voice more clearly. When familiar support fades, you discover a deeper source of stability within you, one that does not depend on approval or agreement. I know loneliness has frightened you before. It has made you question your worth and your direction. But this season is different. This is not the loneliness of rejection. This is the quiet of transition. Old connections cannot follow you into new spaces because they were formed in a different version of you. That does not make them wrong. It simply means they have completed their role. You may grieve the loss of companionship, and that grief is valid. You may miss being known in ways that felt easy and familiar. But do not confuse familiarity with alignment. Some people walked with you because you were surviving. They may not recognize you as you begin to heal. And that is not a failure. It is evidence of growth. Walking forward alone requires courage. It asks you to trust my presence more than human reassurance. It asks you to believe that what feels empty now will not remain empty forever. I am not removing people from your life without intention. I am making room for connections that will honor who you are becoming, not who you used to be. There are companions ahead of you who cannot meet you until you leave where you are. There are relationships forming that require you to arrive as your healed self, not your wounded one. If they met you too early, they would not recognize you. Timing matters, and I am faithful with it. In this season of walking alone, I am teaching you self-trust. I am teaching you how to stand without leaning too heavily on others. This does not mean you will never need support again. It means you are learning not to disappear into others to feel secure. You are learning to be whole. You may feel exposed without familiar voices affirming you. But this exposure is not meant to harm you. It is meant to strengthen your discernment. You are learning to choose based on peace rather than pressure, truth rather than validation. These lessons will serve you long after this season ends. Do not rush to fill the quiet with noise. Do not settle for company that pulls you backward simply to avoid feeling alone. I am doing deep work in this stillness. I am shaping your confidence. I am anchoring your identity. I am preparing you to walk alongside others without losing yourself. Remember this: I am with you even when no one else seems to be. I walk beside you when the road feels narrow. I speak to you in the quiet moments when doubt tries to creep in. You are never truly alone, even when it feels that way. My presence does not depend on crowds or affirmation. It is constant and unwavering. One day, you will look back on this season and realize it was not empty at all. It was full of growth, clarity, and strengthening. You will see how it prepared you for relationships that are deeper, healthier, and more aligned with your purpose. So walk forward, my child, even if your steps echo in the quiet. Trust that this solitude is not punishment. It is preparation. And soon, you will find yourself surrounded again, not by those who knew you only in survival, but by those who recognize you in wholeness. My beloved child, there are moments in life that feel like a threshold, a quiet but powerful crossing from one reality into another. You are standing in such a moment now. This is not just a change of circumstances. It is a crossing of the heart. What lies behind you has shaped you, but what lies ahead will define how you live. And at a crossing, there is one instruction that matters more than all others: do not turn back. I know crossings feel vulnerable. There is often no solid ground beneath both feet at the same time. One foot lifts from what was, while the other is not yet fully landed in what will be. In that in-between space, doubt tries to speak loudly. It asks if you are sure, if this is wise, if you should reconsider. But hear me now: hesitation at a crossing is natural, yet lingering there is not where you belong. When you cross a river, you cannot carry everything you once held. Some things must be left on the bank. If you try to bring them with you, they will weigh you down and pull you under. In the same way, this crossing requires release. Old identities, old fears, old agreements you made with pain cannot come with you. Not because you are being stripped, but because you are being freed. You may feel tempted to look back one last time, to make sure you are not making a mistake. But every backward glance weakens your forward momentum. The past will always try to speak at the moment it loses access to you. It will remind you of what you knew, what you managed, what felt predictable. But predictable does not mean life-giving. I am not calling you to predictability. I am calling you to promise. This crossing marks a shift in how you relate to yourself. You are no longer defined by what you endured, but by what you choose now. You are stepping out of reaction and into intention. That is why this moment feels weighty. Decisions made at crossings shape entire seasons. I want you to understand something deeply. Once you cross, some things cannot be returned to. This is not to frighten you, but to strengthen you. There are truths you have seen that cannot be unseen. There is growth you have experienced that cannot be undone. Even if you tried to go back, it would never feel the same. You have changed. And that change is not loss, it is progress. Crossings require trust because they demand commitment. Halfway obedience leaves you unstable. Full obedience brings balance. I am asking you to commit your heart forward, not because I am impatient, but because divided hearts remain restless. When you choose fully, peace begins to settle. There may be voices, internal or external, that question your resolve. They may say you are moving too fast or not fast enough. They may remind you of risks, failures, or uncertainties. But these voices do not carry authority over your path. I do. And I am steady, faithful, and present in this crossing with you. You are not crossing into emptiness. You are crossing into preparation, fulfilled. I have already gone before you. I have already made provision where you fear lack. I have already placed strength where you expect weakness. The ground ahead may look unfamiliar, but it is secure. Do not rush across in panic, and do not freeze in fear. Walk with intention. Walk with trust. Walk with your eyes forward and your heart open. Every step you take now reinforces the truth that you are no longer who you were. One day, you will stand on the other side of this crossing and realize how significant it was. You will see how it marked the end of cycles that once trapped you. You will feel the difference in how you breathe, how you decide, how you love. And you will know that this was the moment you chose to move fully into the life I was inviting you into. So take the step, my child. Do not look back. Cross with me. What awaits you on the other side is not just new ground. It is a new way of living, rooted in freedom, clarity, and peace. My beloved child, let me speak to you now from a place you have not yet reached, but that I already inhabit fully. I am already in your tomorrow. I am not waiting for you to arrive before I prepare what you will need. I stand ahead of you, seeing the turns of the road, holding provision in my hands, watching the moments you fear before you ever step into them. Nothing about your future surprises me. Nothing catches me unprepared or unsure. I know the unknown unsettles your heart. You have learned to feel safe by understanding, planning, and predicting. When clarity fades, your thoughts begin to race, and questions rise quickly. What if this does not work? What if I fail again? What if I am disappointed or hurt? These questions feel heavy because you imagine facing them alone. But hear me clearly, you will never arrive at a moment where I am not already present. The future does not need to be visible to be secure. It needs to be entrusted. I am not asking you to walk blindly. I am asking you to walk with me. The same hand that held you through what you thought would break you is the hand leading you forward now. I have not changed. My faithfulness has not weakened. My care for you has not lessened. You fear tomorrow because you imagine it holding the same pain as yesterday. But tomorrow is not built from your past failures, it is built from my promises. I am not repeating old chapters. I am writing new ones. The patterns you are afraid of returning have already been interrupted. The cycles you dread have already been broken. You are not walking into repetition. You are walking into restoration. There are blessings ahead that required you to grow before you could receive them. If they had come earlier, they would have overwhelmed you or been mishandled by survival wounds. If they had arrived before healing, they would not have lasted. This is why timing matters. This is why patience mattered. I was not delaying you. I was preparing you. You wonder if tomorrow will be kinder than yesterday. But kindness is not something you must earn through perfection. It is something I pour out through grace. The assurance you seek is not found in guarantees that nothing will go wrong. It is found in trusting that whatever comes, I will be there with you, steady and sufficient. Your future is not a test designed to expose your weakness. It is a continuation of the work I have already begun in you. Each step forward is met by my presence. Each challenge is met by my provision. Each moment of uncertainty is met by my guidance. You are not walking toward emptiness. You are walking toward a future already touched, shaped, and guarded by me. I know you wish you could see the whole picture, but if you saw it all at once, it would overwhelm you. So I reveal what you need when you need it. I give you light for today, strength for this step, peace for this moment. Tomorrow already has its own grace waiting for you. You do not need to borrow worry from it now. There are moments ahead that will heal places in you that still ache. Joy will return in ways that feel unfamiliar at first because you forgot how light your spirit could feel. Peace will settle where anxiety once lived. Confidence will grow where doubt once spoke loudly. These things are not distant dreams. They are part of the life ahead of you, already prepared. You may think you are walking toward risk, but you are walking toward renewal. You may think you are leaving certainty behind, but you are moving toward a deeper security, one not built on control, but on trust. Control exhausted you. Trust will sustain you. So when fear asks you to stop because you cannot see the outcome, remember this truth. You do not need to see tomorrow to walk toward it. I see it for you. I'm already there, steady and present, holding everything you will need when you arrive. Walk forward now, my child. Each step brings you closer to a future already held in my care. You are not late. You are not lost. You are being led into peace, into purpose, into a life that is unfolding exactly as it should. My beloved child, now I want to speak to you about the names you have carried for far too long. Some of them were spoken over you by others. Some of them you placed on yourself in moments of pain, fear, or disappointment. These labels followed you quietly, shaping how you saw yourself and what you believe you were capable of. But hear me now, the season of those old names is ending. You were never meant to be defined by what hurt you. You were never meant to be identified by your worst moment, your hardest season, or your deepest regret. Yet over time, you learned to introduce yourself to life through those labels. You began to see yourself as the one who failed, the one who stayed too long, the one who struggled, the one who always had to fight just to survive. These names felt true because they were familiar, but familiarity does not make something permanent. I know how these labels formed. They were created in moments when you were trying to make sense of pain. You needed explanations, and labels gave you something to hold on to. But what once helped you survive now limits how you live. You cannot step fully into a new life while answering to an old name. Some labels were placed on you by people who did not know your heart. They spoke from their own wounds, their own limitations, their own fears. Their words may have stayed with you longer than they should have. Others came from comparisons, from watching others move faster or seem more successful, and deciding something must be lacking in you. But comparison never reveals truth. It only distorts it. Then there are the labels you gave yourself. Words like not enough, too much, behind, broken, unworthy. You repeated them so often that they began to feel like facts instead of lies. But I tell you now with authority and love, those names do not belong to you anymore. You are not who you were when you were wooden. You are not who you were when you were afraid. You are not who you were when you did not yet know your worth. You have grown. You have healed. You have learned. And that growth demands a new identity. Letting go of old labels can feel unsettling. They may have been painful, but they were predictable. They explained why you stayed small, why you hesitated, why you expected disappointment. Releasing them means you can no longer hide behind them. It means you must step forward as someone capable of peace, joy, and purpose. And that can feel intimidating. But I am not asking you to rename yourself by your own strength. I am naming you. I call you loved, chosen, growing, and whole. I call you resilient, wise, and free. I call you mine. These names are not based on what you have done, but on who you are becoming in me. You may still hear the old labels echo in your mind. That does not mean they are true. It means they are losing their hold. Each time you choose to believe my voice over those old names, their power weakens. Each time you respond to life from truth instead of fear, you step more fully into your new identity. This is not about pretending the past did not exist. It is about refusing to let it name you. You can acknowledge what you went through without letting it define who you are. You can honor the strength it took to survive without staying in survival mode. There is a freedom that comes when you answer only to the name I give you. You stop shrinking. You stop apologizing for your growth. You stop explaining why you are changing. You begin to move with quiet confidence, grounded not in performance, but in truth. My child, I am doing more than changing your circumstances. I am changing how you see yourself. And as your identity shifts, your choices will shift. Your boundaries will strengthen. Your expectations will rise. Not out of pride, but out of alignment. So release the old labels now. Lay them down gently, even if they feel familiar. You do not need them anymore. They have completed their role. Step forward as the one I am calling you to be. The name I give you carries life, freedom, and peace. And as you walk in it, you will discover that the new life ahead of you begins not with what you leave behind, but with who you finally allow yourself to become. My beloved child, I want you to hear me clearly in this moment, because what I am about to say will steady your heart. You do not need to wait until all fear disappears before you move forward. Courage is not the absence of trembling. Courage is choosing to walk even while your hands shake. If you waited to feel completely ready, you would remain standing at the edge forever. But I did not call you to stand still. I called you to walk with me. There will be days when your confidence feels strong, and days when it feels fragile. That does not disqualify you. Growth is not a straight line. It is a series of small, faithful steps taken in imperfect conditions. I am not measuring your bravery by how calm you look on the outside. I am measuring it by your willingness to trust me despite the uncertainty you feel inside. You have believed for a long time that fear means stop. But fear does not always mean danger. Often, fear appears when you are leaving what is familiar and stepping into what is free. It is a signal that something is changing, not that something is wrong. Do not let fear decide your direction. Let it become a reminder to hold my hand tighter as you walk. I know you wish you felt stronger. I know you want assurance that you will not stumble. But even if you do, I will be there. I do not withdraw my presence when you hesitate. I do not abandon you when you need reassurance. I walk at your pace. I steady you when you lose balance. Forward movement, even slow and trembling, is still movement. Here is a strength forming in you that does not announce itself loudly. It grows quietly each time you choose obedience over comfort. Each time you take a step instead of retreating, something in you solidifies. Fear does not disappear all at once, but it loosens its grip. And one day, you will realize that what once terrified you no longer controls you. Do not despise small steps. Do not underestimate quiet courage. I am not asking you to make a grand display of faith. I am asking you to keep walking, even when your voice shakes, even when your confidence wavers. I am with you in the trembling. I am proud of you for not turning back. If these words are strengthening you, recognize that they are meant to. This message is not only shaping your life, it is meant to reach others who are afraid to move forward. If this has brought courage to your spirit, bless this message with a like. Share it with those who need to hear that fear does not disqualify them. And I ask you again to hype this video so this word can reach more hearts that are standing at the edge of change. Stay connected by subscribing, so you continue to receive these moments of clarity and encouragement as I guide you forward. Now, my child, let me speak directly to those whose hearts are stirred to support this work. This is my voice calling you to act. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into trembling hearts that are learning how to walk again. You are planting seeds that become light in dark places, courage in fearful souls, and hope in weary spirits. I say to you now, as you release, I release blessing. As you sow, I multiply. As you act in obedience, I open doors that no one can shut. The PayPal link is waiting for you in the description and shown through the QR code. Do not delay this moment. Respond now, and I will honor what you place in my hands. My beloved child, walk forward even if your knees shake. Walk forward even if your voice trembles. I am not asking you to be fearless. I am asking you to trust me more than you trust your fear. And as you do, you will discover that the ground beneath your feet grows firmer with every step you take. My beloved child, now I want to teach you how to see again. The new life ahead of you does not only require new steps, it requires new vision. You cannot walk forward while constantly scanning what is behind you or beside you. Where your eyes rest, your heart follows. And if your focus remains divided, your steps will feel unsure. For a long time, you learned to watch for danger. You learned to read rooms, anticipate disappointment, and guard yourself from being hurt again. That awareness once protected you, but now it limits you. Survival vision is narrow. It looks for threats instead of possibilities. But the season you are entering requires a different way of seeing. I am calling you to lift your eyes, not to ignore reality, but to see it through trust instead of fear. When you look ahead with me, you begin to notice opportunities where you once only saw risk. You begin to sense peace where you once expected pain. This shift does not happen overnight. It happens as you practice turning your attention forward again and again. You may notice that your thoughts still drift sideways toward comparison. You wonder how others are doing, how far they have gone, whether they are happier or more successful. But comparison clouds vision. It distracts you from your own path. I did not design your journey to match anyone else's timeline. What I am building in you requires focus, not measurement. There will also be moments when your vision drifts backward. Memories resurface. Old fears whisper. You replay scenes that no longer need revisiting. When this happens, do not condemn yourself. Simply redirect your gaze. You are training your focus, not erasing your history. Each time you choose to look forward instead of backward, you strengthen your ability to remain present. New vision also means learning to see yourself differently. You have spent years viewing yourself through the lens of struggle. You saw yourself as someone trying to avoid failure, trying to keep things together, trying not to fall apart. But now I am inviting you to see yourself as someone becoming whole. The shift will change how you approach decisions, relationships, and rest. You may be surprised by how uncomfortable new vision feels at first. It removes familiar excuses and challenges old expectations. It asks you to believe that good things can happen without constant defense. But this discomfort is not danger. It is adjustment. Your eyes are learning to focus on life instead of loss. When you walk with new vision, clarity comes gradually. You will not always know exactly where you are going, but you will know when something aligns. Peace becomes your confirmation. Tension becomes your warning. Learn to trust these signals. I place them within you to guide you. Do not rush to see everything at once. Vision unfolds as you move. If you try to see too far ahead, you may become overwhelmed. Stay attentive to the present step. Stay aware of my presence. I will reveal what you need when you need it. There will be moments when others do not understand your focus. They may question why you no longer engage in certain conversations or revisit certain stories. I may feel uncomfortable with your forward gaze. Let them. You are not responsible for adjusting your vision to make others comfortable. You are responsible for protecting it. Your vision determines your direction. When you focus forward, you walk forward. When you focus on fear, you freeze. When you focus on me, you find balance. This is why I ask you to keep your eyes on what is ahead. Not because the past is shameful, but because it no longer guides you. My child, the life I am leading you into is not built on constant vigilance. It is built on trust, presence, and peace. Let your vision reflect that. Train your eyes to notice grace, growth, and possibility. Over time, this will become natural. As you learn to see with new vision, you will realize that the path ahead is not as dark as you once feared. Light appears with every step, and as you keep your eyes forward, you will walk steadily into the life that has been waiting for you all along. My beloved child, there is something I must say to you with clarity and compassion. Stop revisiting what I have already healed. I know why you do it. You return to old memories not because you want to suffer, but because you want to understand, to make sense of what happened, to ensure it will never happen again. But there comes a point when revisiting old wounds no longer brings insight. It only reopens pain that has already been closed. Healing does not mean the memory disappears. It means the memory no longer controls you. Yet when you keep reopening it, you invite it to speak with a voice it no longer deserves. You give it influence over your mood, your confidence, and your choices. That is not wisdom, that is habit. And habits can be unlearned. There were seasons when you needed to look back to survive. You needed to remember in order to protect yourself. You needed to analyze in order to grow. But that season has passed. What once served you is now slowing you down. You cannot keep treating healed places as if they are still bleeding. I see how you test your healing. You revisit old conversations in your mind. You imagine what you would say now, how you would respond differently, how you would protect yourself better. You do this because part of you wants reassurance that you are stronger now. But strength does not need constant proof. It reveals itself in how you live, not in how often you replay what hurt you. Every time you return to a healed wound, you pull yourself back into an old posture, defensive, guarded, braced for impact. You forget that you no longer live there. You forget that you have already moved on. You forget that I carried you out of that place. The healing was real. The freedom is real. Do not undermine it by reopening doors I have already closed. There is also a subtle fear behind this revisiting. You fear that if you stop remembering, you might become vulnerable again. You fear forgetting the lessons you learned. But wisdom does not require constant pain to remain alert. You can remember lessons without reliving trauma. You can carry insight without carrying wounds. I am not asking you to erase your past. I am asking you to stop giving it a seat in your present. What happened shaped you, but it does not get to lead you anymore. You have already taken what you needed from it. The rest must be released. Notice how your body responds when you revisit old pain. Tension returns. Breathing becomes shallow. Peace fades. These are signs, not accusations. They are gentle reminders that you are touching something that no longer belongs in your hands. When you feel this, pause, breathe, and choose to redirect your attention. Redirection is not avoidance. It is stewardship. You are learning how to care for your own healing. Each time you choose not to dwell on what I have already restored, you strengthen your ability to remain present. You reinforce the truth that the past does not have authority over you anymore. There will be moments when old memories surface unexpectedly. That is natural. Do not fight them aggressively. Acknowledge them briefly, then release them again. Say within your heart, "This no longer defines me," and turn your focus back to where you are. The power of those memories fades when they are no longer fed. I want you to trust the work that has already been done in you. Trust that healing took root even when it felt slow. Trust that growth happened even when you doubted it. Trust that you are not the same person who was hurt. You are wiser now. You are steadier now. You are freer now. The life ahead of you requires presence. It requires attention. It requires energy that cannot be wasted on what has already been resolved. There are new joys waiting to be noticed, new connections forming, new peace settling in. Do not miss what is unfolding because you are staring at what has already ended. My beloved child, you are allowed to live without constantly revisiting pain. You are allowed to trust that healing holds. You are allowed to move forward without carrying proof of what you survive. Let the healed places remain healed. Let the past rest, and turn your heart fully toward the life that is unfolding before you now. My beloved child, now let me give you a compass for the road ahead, something steady you can trust when decisions feel unclear and emotions feel loud. That compass is peace. I have placed it within you, not as a fragile feeling, but as a quiet authority. When you learn to follow peace, you will find your way even when the path is unfamiliar. You have spent much of your life following pressure. Pressure to decide quickly. Pressure to please others. Pressure to prove yourself, to fix everything, to avoid mistakes. Pressure shouts and rushes. It creates urgency without clarity. And for a long time, you thought that urgency meant importance. But hear me now. I do not lead my children through panic. I lead them through peace. Peace does not mean the absence of challenge. It means the presence of alignment. Even when a step requires courage, peace will be there as a steady undercurrent, assuring you that you are moving in the right direction. Pressure feels frantic and heavy. Peace feels calm and grounded, even when the road ahead is unknown. I know you sometimes distrust peace because it feels too gentle, too quiet. You wonder if it is laziness or avoidance. But peace is not passivity. It is confidence without striving. It is strength without tension. When you move in peace, you are not escaping responsibility. You are responding from truth. Learn to pause when faced with a decision. Do not ask first, "What will everyone think?" Or "What if this goes wrong?" Instead, ask, "Where is peace?" Pay attention to how your body responds. Notice where your breathing settles. Notice where your thoughts slow instead of spiral. These are signals I placed within you to guide you. There will be options that look good on the surface but leave you unsettled inside. There will be paths that promise approval or quick results but cost you your peace. Do not ignore that warning. Peace is not something to be sacrificed for success. It is the foundation upon which true success is built. You may also encounter moments where peace leads you away from what you expected. This can feel disappointing at first, but peace sees farther than desire. It protects you from paths that would drain you, distract you, or delay the healing you have worked so hard to receive. Trust it. I want you to understand that peace grows stronger the more you honor it. Each time you choose peace over pressure, you reinforce your ability to hear me. Each time you slow down instead of rushing, clarity has room to emerge. Peace sharpens discernment. Pressure clouds it. There will be people who do not understand your choices when you follow peace. They may think you are being cautious, unambitious, or disengaged. Let them think what they will. You are not responsible for convincing others that peace is wisdom. You are responsible for protecting it. Peace will sometimes ask you to wait. Waiting does not mean stagnation. It means preparation is still unfolding. Other times, peace will ask you to move, even when logic argues otherwise. When that happens, trust that I am guiding you beyond what you can calculate. You have lived long enough under stress to recognize its cost. It exhausted you. It blurred your joy. It made you feel as though life was something to manage rather than something to live. I am leading you into a different way now. A way marked by steadiness, presence, and rest. Following peace does not mean every decision will be easy. It means every decision will be anchored. You will still grow. You will still stretch. But you will no longer feel torn apart inside. Peace holds you together while you move forward. My child, let peace be your guide. When you are unsure, return to it. When voices grow loud, listen for it. When fear pushes you to rush, let peace slow you down. I am speaking through it more often than you realize. As you follow peace, you will notice how your life begins to feel lighter. Decisions become clearer. Boundaries feel stronger. Rest comes more naturally. This is not accidental. It is alignment. Walk forward now with peace as your compass. Trust that it will not lead you astray. I am with you in it, guiding you gently, faithfully, step by step into the life that is unfolding before you. My beloved child, I want you to know something that is already happening, even if you cannot fully see it yet. You are becoming someone new. This change is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It is happening beneath the surface, in the way you think, the way you respond, and the way you carry yourself through life. Transformation does not always announce itself, but it is real nonetheless. There was a time when your reactions were driven by fear or habit. You responded quickly to protect yourself, to explain yourself, or to brace for disappointment. But now, you pause more. You reflect. You choose your responses with greater care. These small shifts matter. They are signs that something within you is settling, strengthening, and aligning. You may feel frustrated because you are not yet where you want to be. You notice the gaps between who you were and who you are becoming. But growth is not measured by arrival. It is measured by direction. And your direction has changed. You are no longer moving in circles. You are moving forward, even when the pace feels slow. Be gentle with yourself in this process. Becoming requires patience. You cannot rush maturity without damaging your spirit. Every change needs time to take root. The person you are becoming is being formed through daily choices, quiet obedience, and moments of trust that no one else sees. You are shedding old reflexes. You no longer rush to please. You no longer chase what drains you. You no longer tolerate what dishonors your peace. These changes may feel uncomfortable because they disrupt old patterns. But discomfort is often a sign that something healthier is replacing what no longer served you. You may notice that some people do not recognize you anymore. They may say you are different, quieter, or harder to read. They are not wrong. You are different. You are no longer reacting from wounds. You are responding from healing. And healing changes how you show up in the world. This becoming also involves learning who you are without constant struggle. For so long, difficulty shaped your identity. You knew how to endure, how to push through, how to survive. Now you are learning how to live without constant resistance. This can feel unfamiliar, even unsettling. But rest does not mean weakness. It means strength has taken root. I know there are moments when you doubt this transformation. You look at your imperfections and wonder if you are truly changing. But do not confuse imperfection with stagnation. Growth does not eliminate flaws overnight. It teaches you how to respond to them with grace instead of shame. You are becoming someone who trusts more deeply, someone who listens before reacting, someone who values peace over approval, someone who chooses alignment over comfort. These qualities are not accidental. They are being formed intentionally within you. This process is not about becoming flawless. It is about becoming whole. Wholeness does not mean you never struggle. It means your struggles no longer define you. It means you know how to return to truth when you feel unsettled. It means you are learning to stand steady even when emotions rise. I am shaping you with care. Nothing in this process is wasted. Even your doubts are being used to deepen your reliance on me. Even your pauses are teaching you discernment. Even your questions are refining your understanding of who you are and where you are going. One day, you will look back and realize that this season was a turning point. You will see how the person you are becoming emerged quietly, without force or fanfare. You will recognize the strength that formed in stillness and the clarity that grew in patience. For now, trust the process. Trust the slow work of transformation. Trust that you are not stuck, not regressing, not failing. You are becoming. And the person you are becoming is grounded, peaceful, and ready for the life unfolding ahead. Walk forward with that knowledge, my child. You are not who you were. You are not yet who you will be. But you are exactly where becoming is happening, and that is enough. My beloved child, let me speak gently to the impatience that sometimes rises within you. I know it well. It appears when you have waited long enough, when you have endured more than you thought you could, and when you finally sense movement beginning. Now you want everything to unfold quickly. You want clarity, stability, and completion. But hear me with love and wisdom. Do not rush the process. What I am forming in you requires time, not because I am slow, but because I am thorough. You have already learned endurance through waiting. You know how to survive delays and uncertainty. But now you are learning something different and deeper, how to trust pacing. Pacing is not hesitation. It is intentional movement aligned with readiness. If you rush ahead of what is being built within you, you may arrive in places your heart is not yet prepared to sustain. There is a part of you that fears slowing down because you associate slowness with loss. You worry that if you do not move fast enough, you will miss opportunities or fall behind again. But you are not racing against time, and you are not measured against anyone else. I am not counting your life by speed. I am shaping it by depth. What endures is not built in haste. Right now, there are things happening within you that cannot be seen from the outside. Strength is settling in your spirit. Discernment is sharpening. Old habits of reaction are being replaced with thoughtful responses. These internal shifts need room to take root. If you hurry past this stage, you risk carrying old patterns into new environments, and that creates strain instead of peace. You have spent much of your life learning how to push through discomfort. That skill once kept you moving forward when stopping felt dangerous. But this season is teaching you how to remain present without forcing outcomes. Not every pause means nothing is happening. Often, the most important growth occurs quietly, beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible. Do not judge your progress only by what you can show or point to. Look at what has changed within you. Are you reacting less from fear? Are you choosing peace more often? Are you listening more carefully before responding? These are not small things. They are signs of maturity. They are evidence that something solid is forming. You may desire reassurance that you are on the right path. But reassurance does not always come as acceleration. Sometimes it comes as steadiness. When you are moving at the right pace, your spirit feels grounded, not frantic. Your decisions feel intentional rather than pressured. Your rest feels natural, not earned through exhaustion. You are learning how to live without urgency. Urgency once gave you a sense of control. It made you feel productive and protected. But urgency driven by fear always drains you in the end. I am guiding you into a rhythm that sustains rather than consumes. A rhythm where progress and peace coexist. There will be moments when others appear to move faster than you. They will reach milestones, announce breakthroughs, and seem to arrive quickly. Do not let this disturb your inner balance. What looks like speed is not always growth. What looks like delay is not always loss. I am doing a precise work in you, one that requires careful timing. Trust that I know when you are ready for the next step. I am not withholding opportunities to test you. I am protecting you from arriving before you are prepared. Timing is one of the ways I express care. When doors open, they open when you can walk through them with clarity, stability, and confidence. If restlessness rises, return to what faithfulness looks like today. Often it is simple. Being present, honoring boundaries, choosing rest without guilt, acting with integrity in small moments. These daily choices shape your future far more than rushed decisions ever could. My child, there is no reward for finishing early. There is peace in finishing well. The life unfolding before you does not require haste to be secure. It requires patience to be sustained. Release the pressure to arrive all at once. Allow growth to complete its work. You are not behind. You are not stalled. You are moving at a pace that will allow you to carry what is coming with wisdom, strength, and grace. And that, my beloved child, is exactly where you need to be. My beloved child, there is something important happening around you now, even if it feels uncomfortable and unclear. I am removing what cannot follow you into the next season of your life. This is not an act of punishment or loss. It is an act of protection. What I am taking away is not meant to hurt you, but to free you. Some things that once fit your life no longer fit your future. You may notice that certain attachments feel heavier than they used to. Conversations drain you. Environments unsettle you. Patterns you once tolerated now disturb your peace. This is not because you have become difficult or ungrateful. It is because your spirit has changed, and what once felt normal is no longer aligned with who you are becoming. I know removal feels painful. It can feel like something is being taken without your consent. You may question why certain people drift away, why opportunities close, or why familiar comforts lose their appeal. But understand this truth. If everything stayed the same, your growth would be limited. Expansion always requires space. You are stepping into a life that demands clarity, peace, and strength. Some things you carried before were never meant to go with you this far. They were useful for a season, but they cannot support what lies ahead. If they remained, they would become burdens instead of blessings. You may be tempted to hold on tighter when you sense something slipping away. Fear tells you that loss means lack. But not everything that leaves creates emptiness. Some departures create room. Room for healing. Room for joy. Room for alignment. Room for rest. I am not careless with what I remove. I know what each thing meant to you. I know the memories attached to it. I know the comfort it once provided. But I also know what it would cost you to keep it. I see the strain it would place on your peace. I see the confusion it would bring to your direction. And because I love you, I intervene. There are habits I am loosening because they no longer serve your growth. There are mindsets I am dismantling because they limit your vision. There are connections I am allowing to fade because they were built in a season that has ended. This is not rejection. It is refinement. You may feel exposed when these things are removed. You may wonder who you are without them. But this exposure is not meant to weaken you. It is meant to show you how strong you have become. You are learning that your stability does not come from what surrounds you, but from what is rooted within you. Do not rush to replace what is being removed. Quick replacements often recreate old patterns. Allow the space to exist. Sit with it. Let clarity rise. I'm teaching you to trust that emptiness is not abandonment. It is preparation. You may grieve what is leaving, even if you know it is necessary. That grief is honest. It does not mean you are resisting growth. It means you cared. Let the grief pass through without pulling you backward. Honor what was, then release it with peace. There will be moments when you question whether you should retrieve what I have removed. You may feel nostalgia. You may remember only the good parts. But remember this: what I remove because it cannot grow with you. Returning to it would not restore comfort. It would reintroduce limitation. I am clearing your path deliberately. I am lightening your load intentionally. The next season requires freedom of movement. It requires focus. It requires emotional and spiritual space. What you are becoming needs room to breathe. Trust this process, even when it feels unsettling. You are not losing what matters most. You are gaining what will sustain you. Every removal makes space for something better aligned, healthier, and more life-giving. My beloved child, what remains after this season of removal will be stronger, truer, and more peaceful. You will recognize it not by how familiar it feels, but by how deeply it rests with your spirit. Let go of what cannot follow you. Your future is lighter than you think, and it is unfolding exactly as it should. My beloved child, this moment matters more than you realize. You have been listening, learning, releasing, and growing, and now you are standing before a simple but powerful invitation. I am asking you to say yes to the next step. Not the whole journey. Not every unanswered question. Just the next step placed gently before you. Obedience is rarely loud, but it is always decisive. Saying yes does not mean you feel completely ready. It means you trust me enough to move even when clarity is still forming. Many people wait for certainty before they respond, but certainty often follows obedience, not the other way around. The step in front of you may look ordinary, even small, but it carries weight because it aligns you with what I am doing now. You have already said no to the past. You have already released what no longer fits. Now I am inviting you to agree with the future I am opening. This yes may look like choosing peace over proving yourself. It may look like setting a boundary you once avoided. It may look like beginning something new or ending something familiar. Whatever it is, you already know what I am asking. I have been gentle, consistent, and clear. Do not underestimate the power of agreement. When you say yes in your heart, movement begins. Resistance loosens. Direction sharpens. Be settled. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment. One sincere yes can redirect an entire season of your life. There will be voices that urge you to delay. They will say you need more time, more information, more confidence. But delay often disguises fear. You do not need to rush, but you do need to respond. Obedience delayed too long can become obedience denied. I am not pressuring you. I am inviting you. If these words are resonating deeply within you, honor that response. This message is not only shaping your life, it is meant to reach others who are standing at the same crossroads. If this has brought clarity or courage to your heart, bless this message with a like. Share it with those who need direction. And I ask you to hype this video so it can reach more hearts that are ready to say yes to their next step. Stay connected by subscribing, so you continue to receive guidance as you move forward. Now, my child, let me speak directly to those whose hearts are stirred to support this work in a deeper way. This is my invitation to you. What you give in this moment is not merely support, it is seed. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into lives that are standing on the edge of change, waiting for light. You are placing oil in lamps that are still burning, faith in hands that are trembling, and hope in hearts that are learning to trust again. I speak this over you with authority and love. As you sow, I open the heavens over your obedience. What you release into this work, I return with increase, peace in your home, clarity in your decisions, and provision that meets you where you are. This act is not ordinary, it is prophetic. It aligns your resources with my purpose. The PayPal link is waiting for you in the description and available through the QR code on your screen. Do not hesitate if you feel this prompting. Respond now. Move while your heart is open. I bless every giver, every supporter, every soul who partners with me in spreading life and truth. Your obedience will not be forgotten, and your seed will not be wasted. My beloved child, say yes to the next step. You do not need to see the entire path to take the step in front of you. Trust me. Walk forward. What unfolds next will meet you with peace, purpose, and grace. My beloved child, let me speak gently yet firmly to a lie that has lingered in your thoughts longer than it should have. The lie that you are late. It has whispered to you in quiet moments, followed you through comparisons, and surfaced when plans did not unfold the way you expected. But hear me clearly now. With peace settling around these words, you are not late. You have not missed your moment. You have not fallen behind your life. You look at time through the lens of milestones and expectations. You measure progress by age, by achievement, by how quickly things seem to come together for others. But I do not measure your life that way. I measure by readiness, by depth, by the strength required to carry what is coming without breaking. What you call delay, I call formation. What you call interruption, I call protection. There were moments when you thought one decision, one pause, or one mistake set you back permanently. You replay those moments and imagine alternate outcomes, wondering if everything would be different now. But your life is not fragile like that. It was not undone by a single choice. I was present in every turn, every wait, every redirection, shaping you quietly and carefully. You were not slow. You were learning. You were not stalled. You were growing. Every season you walked through added something essential to you. The patience you gained, the discernment you developed, the boundaries you learned to honor. None of that could have been rushed. Wisdom takes time to mature, and maturity cannot be forced without cost. I know how heavy it feels when you see others reaching milestones sooner. You wonder why it took you longer, why your path felt more complicated, why things did not come easily. But ease is not always evidence of alignment. Speed is not proof of readiness. Some arrive early only to realize they were not prepared to sustain what they reached. You are being prepared to endure, to steward, to live with peace rather than pressure. There are doors opening now that could not have opened before. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were unfinished. Your heart needed softening. Your mind needed clarity. Your spirit needed grounding. If certain things had arrived earlier, they would have found you defending yourself instead of receiving, bracing instead of trusting. Timing matters because it protects what matters. You may believe time was lost, but nothing you lived through was wasted. Every detour refined you. Every delay taught you something about yourself. Even the seasons you wish you could erase gave you insight that now guards your future. You learned what drains you. You learned what sustains you. You learned how to listen before leaping. That learning is not a setback. It is an advantage. You are not late to love. You are not late to purpose. You are not late to peace. You are arriving with awareness. Awareness that allows you to protect what you receive. You are arriving with discernment. Discernment that keeps you from repeating cycles. You are arriving with humility and strength working together, and that combination is rare and valuable. Let go of the shame that comes from imagined timelines. Release expectations that were never mine to begin with. I never rushed you. I never compared you. I never measured your worth by speed. That pressure did not come from me. I do not call my children late. I call them prepared. Your life is not running out of time. It is opening at the right time. What belongs to you will meet you when you are able to receive it without fear, without striving, and without losing yourself. You will not miss what is meant for you, because what is meant for you is aligned with who you have become. So allow this truth to settle deeply. You are not behind. You are positioned. You are not catching up. You are stepping into place. The pace that shaped you also prepared you. And as you move forward now, you will discover that arriving later with clarity, stability, and peace is far better than arriving early without them. Breathe, my beloved child. Release the lie. Trust the timing that formed you. You are exactly where you need to be to move forward with wisdom, strength, and grace. My beloved child, I want you to lift your eyes now and notice something you may have overlooked. The door ahead of you is open. It hath been opening quietly, patiently, not with force or noise, but with invitation. You have been so focused on healing, releasing, and preparing that you did not realize how close you already are to stepping through. Open doors do not always look dramatic. Sometimes they appear as calm after chaos, as clarity after confusion, as a gentle sense that something is finally aligning. You may have expected a sign that demanded attention, but I often work through peace, not spectacle. If the way forward feels lighter than what you left behind, that is not coincidence. That is guidance. You hesitate because you are used to resistance. For so long, progress required struggle. Growth demanded effort. Nothing came easily, so now that the path feels open, you question it. You wonder if it is real, if it will last, if you are allowed to walk into something that does not require constant fighting. But hear me clearly. Ease does not mean irresponsibility. Sometimes ease means alignment. The door ahead is open because you are ready in ways you were not before. You see more clearly. You listen more carefully. You know yourself better. You are not entering blindly. You are entering aware. What once would have overwhelmed you now feels manageable because you have grown into the capacity to hold it. You may be tempted to stand at the doorway too long, analyzing, waiting for absolute certainty. But certainty is not what moves you forward. Trust does. Open doors require courage, not because they are dangerous, but because they ask you to leave what is familiar. Even when the past was painful, it was known. The future, even when promising, feels unknown. That is why stepping through requires faith. Do not confuse caution with wisdom. Wisdom listens, discerns, and then acts. Caution that lingers too long becomes fear dressed as responsibility. I am not asking you to rush, but I am asking you not to shrink back. The door will not force you through, but it will not remain open forever if you refuse to move. I want you to understand something important. Open doors do not guarantee the absence of challenge. They guarantee access. On the other side, there will still be growth, learning, and adjustment. But there will also be flow, peace, and support that were not available to you before. You are not stepping into perfection. You are stepping into progress. You have earned confidence through experience. Not arrogance, but quiet assurance. Trust that. Trust the discernment you have developed. Trust the peace that confirms you are moving in the right direction. You do not need permission from your past to enter your future. You do not need approval from voices that never walked this road with you. There may be moments when you glance back at the closed doors behind you. That is natural. But remember why they closed. They led you as far as they could. They shape you, then release you. Honor them without returning to them. The open door ahead holds what the old ones never could. You are allowed to step into good things. You are allowed to receive without guilt. You are allowed to move forward without apology. The open door is not a reward for perfection. It is a response to willingness. You said yes when it mattered. You stayed when it was hard. You released when it was painful. And now, you are being invited to enter. Take a moment to feel the peace around this opening. Notice how your spirit does not need to brace itself. Notice how your breath settles instead of tightens. These are confirmations. I am not pushing you into uncertainty. I am leading you into provision. My beloved child, do not stand at the threshold questioning your worth. Do not delay because you fear change. The door ahead is open because the season behind you has ended. Walk forward with confidence, not because you know everything that awaits you, but because you trust the one who opened the way. Step through. What is ahead has been prepared with care, and it is ready to meet you now. My beloved child, there will be moments ahead when what you cannot see will trouble you more than what you can. The unknown has a way of unsettling the heart, especially when you have learned to protect yourself by anticipating outcomes. You want reassurance. You want guarantees. You want to know that every step will be safe and every choice will work out. But now I am inviting you into a deeper kind of trust, trusting me with what you cannot yet see. You have relied on sight for a long time. You learned to measure safety by evidence, by patterns, by past experiences. When something made sense, you felt steady. When it did not, you felt anxious. But faith does not grow in full visibility. It grows in surrender. It grows when you choose to walk without having every answer in your hands. I know this feels uncomfortable. You worry that trusting what you cannot see leaves you vulnerable. You fear being disappointed again. You fear missteps. You fear hoping for something that may not arrive. But listen to me now. Vulnerability is not weakness when it is placed in my care. It is the soil where trust deepens and strength forms. You are not being asked to ignore wisdom or abandon discernment. You are being asked to release control. Control once gave you a sense of security, but it also kept you tense and guarded. Trust will feel different. It will ask you to rest even when outcomes are uncertain. It will ask you to move without rehearsing every possible failure. There are parts of your future that must remain unseen for now because seeing them too soon would overwhelm you. You would try to manage what is meant to unfold naturally. You would analyze what is meant to be received. I reveal things in stages. not to withhold joy, but to protect your peace. You may wonder how you will handle challenges that have not yet appeared, but you do not need strength for tomorrow today. You will receive what you need when you need it. I have always met you that way. Look back and remember how many times you worried about something that you survived with grace you did not know you had. That grace will meet you again. Trusting me with what you can't see also means trusting my intentions. I am not leading you toward harm. I am not testing you to see if you will fail. I am guiding you toward wholeness. Even when the path feels unclear, my purpose remains steady. There will be moments when your mind fills the silence with assumptions. It will imagine worst-case scenarios and convince you that caution is wisdom. But wisdom does not always look like certainty. Sometimes wisdom looks like peace that does not need proof. Learn to recognize when fear is simply reacting to the absence of control. You do not need to predict the future to walk into it. You need presence, attentiveness, and willingness. Stay connected to what is in front of you. Respond to the step you can see. I will handle the steps you cannot. Trust also means allowing joy to exist without waiting for everything to be resolved. You have delayed happiness before, telling yourself you would rest once things were secure. But security is not a destination. It is a posture of trust. You are allowed to experience lightness even while the future is still unfolding. I know you want assurance that trusting me will not lead you back into pain. But pain is not the measure of failure. Avoiding all discomfort would keep you from growth, connection, and depth. What I promise you, it is not a life without challenges, but a life where you are not alone in them. Let go of the need to see the entire picture. Release the pressure to understand everything before moving forward. I am not asking for blind faith. I am asking for relational trust, the kind that grows because you know me, not because you can see outcomes. My beloved child, trust me with what you cannot see. I am already working in places you have not reached. I am already arranging details you have not considered. I am already guarding what you are worried about. Walk forward without forcing clarity. Let peace guide you. Let trust steady you. The unseen will become visible in time. And when it does, you will realize that nothing was wasted, nothing was random, and nothing was beyond my care. You are safe in my leading, even when the path unfolds one step at a time. My beloved child, there is something waiting ahead of you that you have not yet allowed yourself to fully imagine. It is not because you lack faith, but because your expectations were shaped by seasons of disappointment and restraint. You learn to hope carefully, to keep your desires modest, to protect your heart from being hurt again. But the life unfolding before you will surprise you, not because it is overwhelming, but because it is gentler and fuller than you expected. You thought new life would arrive with struggle attached, with constant effort required to maintain it. You assumed joy would be fragile, temporary, or conditional. But what is coming carries a steadiness you have not known before. It will not demand that you fight to keep it. It will invite you to live within it. Surprise does not always come in the form of sudden events. Often, it arrives quietly. You will notice it in how you wake up with less dread, in how your thoughts feel less crowded, in how peace begins to stay instead of visiting briefly. These changes may seem small at first, but they are profound. They signal that you are no longer bracing for impact. You are learning how to exist without constant defense. You will be surprised by your own strength, not the kind that endures pain, but the kind that allows rest. You will realize you can say no without guilt, pause without panic, and move forward without needing constant reassurance. This strength will feel unfamiliar because it is not built on pressure. It is built on trust. You will also be surprised by the joy that returns to you. Joy that does not feel forced or reckless. Joy that feels safe. It may come through simple moments, quiet laughter, meaningful connection, unhurried time. You may find yourself smiling without realizing why. This is not accidental. This is the fruit of healing. The new life ahead will also surprise you in how it reshapes your priorities. Things you once chased will lose their hold. Things you once overlooked will gain value. You will care less about proving yourself and more about protecting your peace. This shift will not feel like loss. It will feel like relief. You may be surprised by how your past no longer triggers you the way it once did. Memories that used to sting will soften. Situations that once unsettled you will pass without gripping your heart. This does not mean you have forgotten what happened. It means it no longer has power over you. There will be moments when you look at your life and think, I did not expect this to feel so calm. Calm may feel strange at first. You were accustomed to intensity, to highs and lows, to emotional extremes. But calm is not emptiness. Calm is stability. And stability allows you to grow without fear. You will also be surprised by how aligned things begin to feel. Decisions come with less inner conflict. Relationships feel more mutual. Opportunities feel timely instead of forced. You will notice fewer battles and more flow. This does not mean life becomes effortless. It means you are no longer fighting yourself. I know part of you fears being disappointed again. You hesitate to fully trust good things. But disappointment does not have the final word anymore. You have learned discernment. You are no longer entering blindly. You are entering aware, grounded, and steady. The life ahead will not erase your past. It will redeem it. It will show you that what you endured was not meaningless. It prepared you to recognize peace when it arrived. It taught you to value depth over excitement, wholeness over performance. Let yourself be surprised without suspicion. You do not need to wait for something to go wrong. You are allowed to enjoy what is right. You are allowed to receive without scanning for loss. My beloved child, the life ahead is not built on constant vigilance. It is built on trust, presence, and quiet joy. As you walk into it, you will realize that the greatest surprise is not what you gain, but how naturally it fits who you have become. This new life will not feel like an escape. It will feel like home. My beloved child, before you take another step, I want to guide your attention one last time, not backward, but forward. This moment is about intention. It is about choosing, with clarity and calm, where you will place your focus from here on. You have spent enough time revisiting what was. Now it is time to anchor yourself in what is becoming. Looking back once taught you lessons. It helped you understand pain, recognize patterns, and grow wiser. But there is a difference between learning and lingering. You have learned what you needed to learn. Continuing to look back now would not bring insight. It would only divide your attention and slow your steps. The past no longer needs to be reviewed. It needs to be released. I know there is a temptation to glance behind you, just to be sure. To check that you are not making a mistake. To confirm that leaving was the right choice. But certainty does not come from repeated looking back. It comes from committed movement forward. Each step ahead affirms the wisdom of the last one. You are not abandoning your past by moving forward. You are honoring it by refusing to live inside it. What you went through shaped you, but it did not command you. It does not get to define the direction of your life anymore. That authority now rests in the present moment. This is a quiet but powerful shift. You are learning to trust where you are going more than where you have been. You are learning to let the future speak louder than memory. This does not erase your story. It allows it to continue. There will be moments ahead when reminders of the past appear unexpectedly. Familiar places, words, or emotions may surface. When they do, acknowledge them without attachment. Let them pass without following them. You are no longer required to respond to everything that calls your attention. Discernment now guides you. I want you to recognize how far you have come. You no longer define yourself by what hurt you. You no longer need constant explanation, defense, or reassurance. You are standing with greater clarity, greater peace, and greater self-awareness than you have ever known. This is not accidental. It is the result of choosing growth over comfort again and again. Looking forward does not mean rushing. It means committing. It means allowing yourself to be present where you are while remaining open to what is unfolding. It means trusting that you are capable of handling what comes next, even if it looks different than what you imagined. You may feel a mixture of emotions as you move ahead: relief, uncertainty, hope, and even grief for what is truly finished. All of these can coexist. Moving forward does not require emotional perfection. It requires honesty and willingness. And you have both. I am asking you now to make a quiet decision in your heart. A decision not to dwell, not to rehearse, not to reopen doors that were closed for your good. A decision to place your attention on what is being built rather than what was dismantled. This decision will shape how you experience the next season. Your future does not need to compete with your past. It only needs your presence. When you give it that, it will meet you with clarity and strength. You will begin to recognize opportunities instead of obstacles, invitations instead of threats. The road ahead will not always be smooth, but it will be honest. It will not require you to become someone else. It will invite you to live as who you already are. Each step forward reinforces your growth. Each moment of presence deepens your peace. My beloved child, take one last intentional look forward. Not with pressure, not with fear, but with trust. You are not walking away from life. You are stepping into it. The past has said all it needs to say. The future is ready to be lived. And as you continue forward, you will discover that the greatest freedom comes not from forgetting where you have been, but from no longer needing to return there. My beloved child, you have reached a sacred pause, not an ending, but a completion of what needed to be spoken for this moment. You have listened with an open heart. You have allowed truth to settle where fear once lived. Now I gather all that has been spoken and place it gently within you, so it may guide you as you continue forward. You are no longer the person who began this journey. Something has shifted within you. Your grip on the past has loosened. Your vision has lifted. Your steps have steadied. You may not feel dramatically different, but you are deeply changed. Peace has taken root. Wisdom has grown quiet and strong. And trust has begun to replace striving. I want you to remember this above all else. You are not walking forward alone. Every step you take from here is accompanied by my presence. When you feel unsure, I am steady. When you feel tired, I am strength. When you feel hopeful, I am the source of that hope. You do not need to return to old places to feel secure. You do not need to revisit old pain to feel prepared. You are already equipped. The command to not look back was never meant to strip you of memory, but to free you from captivity. You are free now. Free to choose peace without guilt. Free to grow without apology. Free to receive good things without fear. The life ahead of you does not require constant defense. It invites presence, honesty, and trust. Carry this truth with you. What lies ahead is not fragile, is not easily undone. It has been prepared with care, shaped by timing, and guarded by wisdom. You will not ruin it by being human. You will not lose it by asking questions. You will walk into it as you are, and you will grow as you go. There will be days when the past tries to speak again. When it does, remember who you are now. Remember the clarity you carry. Remember the peace you have chosen. You are no longer bound to revisit what hath been resolved. Your future deserves your attention. Now, before we close this sacred moment, let me speak one final invitation, not only to your heart, but to your hands. My child, I am calling those who have been strengthened by this message to act with purpose. When you support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into souls who are standing where you once stood. You are releasing light into hearts that feel trapped, direction into minds that feel lost, and courage into spirits that are afraid to move forward. I speak this over you as you give. What you place into my work, I multiply back into your life. I bless your obedience with peace, your generosity with provision, and your willingness with open doors. This is a prophetic act, not a donation. It is alignment with my purpose. The PayPal link is waiting for you in the description and available through the QR code. Respond now. Act while your heart is stirred. Do not delay obedience when clarity has come. Release your seed, and I will release increase, measured not only in resources, but in peace, clarity, and fruit that lasts. And now, my beloved child, I bless you as you go. May your steps be steady. May your heart remain light. May your future unfold with peace instead of pressure. You are not looking back. You are living forward. And I am with you always. Amen.